What is going on, everyone? It's Ultimate Spy 53 here, and welcome to another episode of Reviewed number 116. And today I'm going to be reviewing Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So what did I think of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them? I really liked it. I loved it. I think it was an amazing movie. It really did a good job with telling a prequel story to the Harry Potter franchise, because that one came first, obviously. And there's a lot of things about this movie that really made it up for it. Not only the fact that this movie is going to get 5 movies. This is like the first of 5, and the second one is coming out this year, which is crazy, but overall, it told a really interesting story. It had that same kind of universe vibe in terms of the magic and stuff like that, and overall, I really enjoyed it. It was a very interesting movie, and I thought it used the whole magic thing really well in terms of where it was set, because it was unusual to be set in a location not in the Britain area, because most of Harry Potter, or all of Harry Potter, was in Britain, and this was the first Harry Potter universe movie that was set entirely in America, in New York, and it was a fascinating movie. It really was. It basically, the idea is that Newt Scamander, who is this magical creature guy who takes care of magical creatures in his suitcase. He's a guy who wrote a book called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them that Harry Potter then would later read 70 years later in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, because this movie is set about 70 years before the events of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which is why it's a prequel. And it does a very good job with being a prequel, and it's set in 1926, so you have like the flapper style of hair, the flappers in general, and in the all that stuff, New York and stuff, all that 20s stuff, all the 20s vibes to it, and it really made it awesome and amazing. And it was like the first movie that had an American thing. It was like every wizard was American. I mean, I think that a lot of the actors were British, like a lot of the American characters were British, which is interesting. But overall, it was a very amazing movie. I loved it. I think the wands were. I think it's important, if you're having a prequel, to make it feel like it's still part of that universe, which is, they did a really good job with it. Although I will say that if I was to talk about it, from a theme standpoint, I feel like, because Harry Potter 5 and on, like Order of Phoenix and on, it had that dark theme, and where the wands would where you wouldn't have to even say anything to do what you want. Although spells were said in this movie, but it was very rarely. Like Harry Potter 5 and on, the spells were rarely even said. They were mainly thought of. Like that way, the idea is that students would learn to think the spells without actually having to say them. Although, when you think about it, you look at Harry Potter 2, where Snape says Expelliarmus, but he's an adult. So it confuses me why that's even a thing, but at the same time, it's very interesting the way they told the story of how wands work. And like the very climax of the movie, you have Mr. Graves, who's later turned out to be Grindelwald, who's like the Dark Wizard. He's like basically before Voldemort came along, he was like he's like the evil Dark Wizard that everyone feared, or something like that. And so he is in disguise as Mr. Graves, who's played by Colin Farrell, who's an Irish actor, but he plays a character with an American accent. And so there's a point in the final battle where he is battling Tina, who's this woman who befriends Scamander, and basically they have a wand duel, and it's very much like the wand duels you see in Harry Potter 5 and on, where they don't say anything, and it's very much like that. So I felt like it had that stuff in it, but overall it had a lot of stuff from the Harry Potter movies, a lot of themes and stuff. It was set in the same world years before or decades in this case, before the Harry Potter films ever came out, in terms of their chronological, but they still had that vibe to it. They still had that dark atmosphere. In fact, the opening credits are basically like Order of the Phoenix. If you think about the Order of the Phoenix opening credits or opening logo, or the logo, I think it actually started to happen in Harry Potter 4, Goblet of Fire, where the where you zoom up to the logo slowly, and you go past it. You literally go past the letters of the logo, which I think is a really cool little thing there. And same thing with this logo is that you go through it. I mean, it was started out with the Hedwig theme used in Order of the Phoenix, I'm pretty sure, and then it changed to the Fantastic Beasts theme, which is cool. But I feel like the movie in general, it really told an interesting story. It had like, Newt's commander is basically accidentally these creatures got loose. So the magical creatures got loose, and he and his friends have to get it back. His friends, he befriends Tina. He befriends Winnie, is that her name? I can't remember exactly. That's her name. I don't know exactly if that's her name. Weena, I can't remember. And then we also have Jacob Kowalski, who's this baker, this semi-overweight baker, meaning he's kind of chubby a little bit. He's a character who's actually pretty funny. He's more on the comedy side of things, and he's the one guy who wants to be a baker. He wants to sell his baked goods into a bakery, which he does in the end, which is fantastic. But overall, I really liked the movie. It was a very well done movie. It had some well-known actors. It told a very good prequel story. It sets up for a lot of things. We turn out, Mr. Gray is actually Grindelwald in Tiny Time. If you think about the Grindelwald we see in Harry Potter and I think it was Half-Blood. No. I think it was Deathly Hallows or Half-Blood Prince, one of the two. We see Grindelwald as a young man. I'm pretty sure that is said in the 1800s, something like that, because Grindelwald in this movie is older. He's his white hair. He's older. He's played by Johnny Depp, the amazing Johnny Depp. I know people will stop wanting to watch his movies ever since he's known for beating his wife and stuff like that. That's why they got divorced. But just because someone in real life isn't great in real life doesn't mean they aren't a good actor. Doesn't mean I just because Johnny Depp beat up his wife and that's what causes his voice does not mean that I can enjoy his work. It's against the rules to enjoy what movies he's in. Not at all. I mean, it doesn't mean he's a good person, or it doesn't mean that stuff that doesn't mean that what he's done in real life makes him a good person. What matters is that he makes good movies. He makes fun movies, enjoyable movies that I want to see. Especially if it's him, because he's an overall a really good actor, and so just because he does terrible things in real life does not mean that he's a bad actor, or that I don't enjoy his work. I love seeing him in movies and because his performance is amazing. But he played Grindelwald, and Grindelwald in this movie is, I don't know, he's 50s or something like that, and in the timeline when we see the flashback, that looks like it could be the 1800s because it's like a huge gap of time. Like, oh well, this movie takes place in the 20s, so how could Grindelwald be that old? Well, because maybe that flashback took place in the 1800s, sometime in that time frame. I don't know when it took place, but you get the idea. So basically, it has that vibe, and it does have the Hedwig theme in there. It has a lot of vibes that you expect from a Harry Potter movie. It has goblins, well, very interesting goblins, very much to capture goblins. It has flying creatures because of Fantastic and all that stuff, but also it does have the Harry Potter universe. You feel like you're watching a Harry Potter movie, but it's not Harry Potter. It's a different part of that universe. It's the American part of it. You mentioned we're name dropped to a lot of things. We're name dropped to Hogwarts. We are actually shown Hogwarts in the next one. Crimes of Grindelwald. I don't know how much that takes, but I want to say it takes a couple years after the first one. I don't know exactly, but in general, I'm really excited for that one. But this movie, it really was. It was very good. I mean, Eddie Redmayne is a perfect choice for casting for the cast to play Newt Scamander, because I haven't read that book that was released for the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. But from a reviewer standpoint, I gotta say this movie was surprisingly good. It had a very wild and interesting plot, and I liked that. I thought that it had that wonderment, that awe of being in that world of Harry Potter, because I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and I've loved the world ever since the first movie came out. I've loved seeing all the magical creatures, the spells, the wands, and so on. I mean, wands are my favorite thing, and just talking about a movie that's set in the same world, it's very interesting because when I first saw the movie in theaters, and I remember I was like, what am I seeing? Like this is not a Harry Potter. This is American Harry Potter. This is like I mean, I didn't know that was actually because the film is actually set in New York. Like that, it's America. So there are wizards in America. In fact, Tina, the woman who Newt befriends, she actually asks Newt, do you anything about the wizarding community of America? And he doesn't know apparently. I think he knows a little bit about it, but not too much. And so that's the interesting thing. But overall, it's really cool. It has the same kind of. It does delve into the because a lot of the dark tones in the themes and stuff like that in this movie are not present in the previous movies. I'm pretty sure that it was part of the fifth movie they had the really positive themes in the movie that made the movie really good. But as for past movies, it didn't have that. Like this movie, it had the very end of the movie, we had the things getting repaired by wands, and I loved it. I think it was fantastic. We had a majority of the part of the movie was solving this issue where this socially retarded kid, Credence, who's played by Ezra Miller, who you may know him from playing the movie, the in my opinion, the awful movie version of The Flash, which I don't even care for because I'm not a DC movie fan anymore, except for some movies. But he played a character called Credence in this movie. He's a very interesting character. He has a hard time talking to people. He's a very weird character, and I don't know how to explain him. He's weird, and so he's taken over by the Obscurus, which is this dark force basically, and he's taken over by it, and he just like wrecks havoc on the city, and that's the whole part of the movie. But like overall, it's a very wonderful movie. It's amazing. I was thrilled when they announced it. I'm like, wow, a new era in Harry Potter, in the world of Harry Potter, because I love the world of Harry Potter. I'm really happy when they're continuing it because, I'm as much as a fan of Harry Potter I am. There are issues. I think the main issue with this movie is that they still. I mean, I talked about it, but I still have this issue where wizards who they are able to choose. They don't have to say their spell. Like, I mean, there are points in the movie where the characters do say the spell, but it isn't all the time, and it's more often than not where the wizard actually says thinks the spell, and I just feel like that bothers me because in the past movies it didn't have that. It wasn't until like the fourth movie they started maybe not saying the spells. I don't know exactly how. Maybe in the fifth movie. I think it was the fifth movie where they started to not use spells like that, and it was just. I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of that idea because it doesn't make sense. You have the previous movies have that where they say the spell, and then the next few movies they don't. It's just like, what the hell? I don't understand it. It makes no sense at all. But yeah, no, I really liked it. I thought it was a very well done movie. It told an interesting story with the character of Newt Scamander because I don't think I had ever heard of Scamander. I didn't know he was this magical creature guy who had a suitcase full of creatures where literally he could. It was big on the inside. He could go into it, and that was how it was. But still, I really liked it. I thought it was wonderful. It had some amazing music. It had some amazing actors. It had some amazing cinematography. It had some for CGI. I mean, CGI is getting better and better and better as time goes on with movies. And this movie, it really showed off the amazing CGI that it had. And some of the creatures were just really, they were amazing. Like the Botroco, which Hagrid. He tells Harry in the Deathly Hallows Part 1 movie that he has I think took it an since it was no bigger than a Botroco, which is like this size, so he's really small. So Harry must have been that size. I think Hagrid's overreacting because he couldn't have been that size. But we first get to see what a Botroco looks like. Basically, this green stick thing with arms. I don't know. He's a very interesting thing, but like. We see the world of where the Fantastic Beasts dwell, like all that stuff, because the whole plot of the movie is, well, it's called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, but we're not necessarily looking where they live. We're just recapturing them. The whole idea is that Newt is after, he's re-finding them and all that stuff. But that's the whole idea, and that was the really funny thing. I mean, there were some comedy bits, but overall it was a very serious movie. It dealt with the same kind of magical universe thing. The I think it's called the Wizarding World. because we are name dropped a couple things that appear in the next movie. We are name dropped Albus Dumbledore. We are name dropped Hogwarts, because we actually apparently we get the first hint at an American wizard school, because I think the other woman who is Tina's sister, she name drops another. I can't remember what the school was, but she name drops that in the news. Like, oh, I think the greatest wizarding school in the world is Hogwarts, which is totally true because Hogwarts is amazing, and I've always wanted to go there. That's why the universe is so amazing and so wonderful that you want to be there. You want to go there, learn magic, all that stuff, and it's just amazing. And there was like a couple. There was like a one deleted scene that I didn't see that movie, which was when J.K. was like, "Oh, I want to be a wizard," and that was not the movie. I didn't notice that. Like, why? How did that get in the movie? But like, yeah, I liked it. It was very much good. It had that. It did have the themes of Harry Potter 5 and on, like that kind of dark theme where the movies get darker and darker, because that's where like everything got darker, and it's just like amazing and it's wonderful and it's crazy. But yeah, overall it was a very good movie. I really liked it. It did good with the 20s vibe, and overall I really enjoyed it. I don't know what else to say about the movie, but yeah, I think it was wonderful to see what it's like to be in the world of magical creatures, and seeing, you know, especially that little. Where I think they're going to visit this guy who turns out to be like a goblin. I think it was, because they also have hell solves too. Especially it's a world filled with magic. They have, you know, America is one place you don't expect to have where magic would exist at all, and see like this. You go to this place where you have the, I think it's at the banquet over, and you go to this it's like basically this. It's basically Gringotts but American. It's basically the American Gringotts, where you have this, where you have all this stuff. You have owls, and you have, you know, things doing, you know, it's all magic. Everything's amazing, and it's like, especially I recall particularly the scene where the woman Tina and her sister are preparing dinner, and they get all these plates out with wands, and it's truly amazing. Like, they make this whole, I think, the strudel dinner thing, and they like make it all wrapped around itself. It's amazing. But yeah, I really like that. I think that the next one's gonna be really really good. I'm really hoping it'll be well done. I think the sad part about this movie is the very end of the movie when Jacob has to be voted, because he like, I think he well, I don't think he's in love with her. Well, he likes her, but like I think the sister is in love with him, because it's clearly shown. And he has to they have to obliviate everyone, and it's like this rain shower, and he has to say goodbye to everyone, and I was pretty sad. And he's building a bakery with all the magical creatures that he encountered, and then Tina says goodbye to Newt, and it's all sad and everything. And at the very end of the movie, we see that you know, Jacob could have, he might have remembered sister, which I don't remember her name, but like, that's the idea. It was really cool that there's a possibility that he remembers her, because he's like smiling a little bit. He's like, "Do I remember you? I don't know if I remember you. I feel like I know you more." Kind of thing. I'd say that. But yeah, I really liked it. I think it was wonderful. It was just like, it felt like it was in that same universe, because it did. It was a very good prequel. I mean, there's obviously more to tell with the story, but like, as a movie, it was well done, and I feel like it offered a lot. It did a good job with making the magical feel of Harry Potter real, because it had been, at this point, 5 years since the last Harry Potter movie came out, and that was like the end of the movie franchise for that. And it's like, I wanted more. People wanted more, you know, Harry Potter story stuff. They wanted more, you know, about what happened before the events of Harry Potter. Like, where do these, what took place before Harry Potter? Oh, there was a dark wizard. Grindelwald was a thing. He was the worst of the worst before Voldemort came along. That was the whole thing, you know. And we see like how evil dark magic can be, all that stuff. It's wonderful. So that's all I can say about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I would recommend it. It's a very good movie, especially if you're a Harry Potter nerd and you like Harry Potter stuff. It's wonderful, and there's definitely more to it. I don't know what else to say about it, but I think it was wonderful. I think it was directed by David Yates, who I think he directed a lot of the other Harry Potter movies, and produced them. And also Jacob Rowling was a part of this, but yeah, I'm really happy that it was made, because it needed to be made, because a movie like this, it's amazing. I think they retitled the studio that makes it, or the franchise called the Wizarding World. I don't know what it's called before, but I think it was called the Harry Potter franchise, but now it's called the Wizarding World franchise. Eddie Redmayne does a really good job. He's one of those. I feel like in this movie he was portrayed as this wizard who, you know, he has knowledge of a lot of things about the Wizarding World and all that stuff. And but when it comes to being social, especially with women, it's very difficult, because we see that when they're eating dinner, he's like, he doesn't even know what to say. Like, he's awkward, like looking down, and it's just nothing to say. He feels weird and stuff like that. So it definitely shows you how interesting that Newt Scamander can be, because he's a very interesting character. He's really wonderful. I think he's a character that I want to explore more in the sequel, because that's gonna be coming out in November. So I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, that's all I can say about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. There's nothing else I can really say about it. It's a wonderful movie. I would recommend it. As for a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, because of the way that that spells were done. Because spells were said. They were actually said in the movie, yes, but I felt like it was confusing. It's confusing when they don't say the spell, because that's never really explained. I think the idea is that wizards learn how to, you know, think spells, but it's still never explained really well. So I don't know. I feel like that they should explain that a little more. Like, to explain like how wizards are able to say the spells and also think them without saying them. I don't really understand that. I think that's one thing about the movie that I didn't like, because I was honestly like, I'm like, why are they not saying the spells? That's weird. So I don't know. It's very interesting, but I still think that would have been a good thing to have to explain why the spells are not said, you know, often enough in this movie. That's why I'm docking it 1 off 9 out of 10. Still not a bad score. Really good. I love the wands. I love everything about it. The world we're built back into it. It's wonderful. So anyway, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Reviewed. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. I really do appreciate the support. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe for more episodes of this series and other series I do, as well as great content. And I'll be back next time with another episode. Alright? See ya.